I'm 78 years old, and I've spent most of my life not saying what I actually felt. Not because I didn't have feelings, but because I didn't think there was room for them. I don't know how many mornings I have left, but I know they're fewer than the ones behind me. That changes how honest you're willing to be. I'm sitting alone at my kitchen table as I say this. Same table I've had for decades. The surface is worn smooth where my hands have rested every morning. I'm not telling this story to make myself feel better. That part of life is mostly past. I'm telling it because when you get to this age, you realize your silence didn't just shape your life. It shaped the lives of the people who loved you. And that's harder to live with than any personal regret. I grew up believing feelings were something you handled privately. You didn't burden other people with them. You didn't slow things down with them. You kept moving. You worked. You provided. You stayed useful. That was how you showed love. No one told me that unspoken feelings don't disappear. They just settle in places where they don't belong. In my 20s, I thought I was doing everything right. I had a steady job, I showed up on time, I didn't complain, I married young, we built a life that looked solid from the outside, we paid our bills, we had children, we did what was expected of us. When my wife asked me how my day was, I'd say, fine, and that was the end of it. When something bothered me, I told myself it wasn't worth discussing. When I felt hurt, I swallowed it. When I felt afraid, I stayed quiet. I thought that was strength. I thought emotions were distractions, something you dealt with after the real work was done. And since the work was never done, the feelings just stayed parked somewhere inside me. I didn't notice the cost at first. It doesn't arrive all at once. It arrives slowly, in ways that are easy to explain away. A conversation you don't finish because you're tired. An apology you plan to make later. A question you don't ask because you don't want the answer. I told myself there would be time. I worked long hours, not because anyone forced me to, but because it gave me an excuse to avoid difficult conversations. At work, expectations were clear. At home, emotions were messy. So I chose the place where I felt competent. My children learned early not to ask me too much. They learned I loved them, but from a distance. I attended their events, I provided what they needed, but I didn't sit on the edge of their beds and ask what scared them. I didn't tell them when I was proud in words that stayed with them. I assumed they knew. My wife would sometimes try to talk late at night about her worries, about feeling lonely even though we shared a house. I'd listen, but I wouldn't say much. I thought listening was enough. I didn't understand that silence can feel like absence, even when you're sitting right there. She stopped trying after a while. That should have scared me, but instead I told myself we were just comfortable, settled, past the need for long conversations. That's what people say when they don't want to admit something is slipping away. Years passed like that, quietly. No big fights, no dramatic moments, just a gradual thinning of connection, like a fabric worn down until light starts coming through. I told myself this was normal, that this is what long marriages look like, that passion fades and routine takes over. I didn't ask myself whether I was participating in my own life or just managing it. The truth is, hiding your feelings doesn't make you calm, it makes you distant, and distance spreads even when no one names it. In my 40s, I started to feel tired in a way sleep didn't fix. I didn't know how to explain it. I wasn't depressed, not in any way I recognized. I was just numb. Things that should have mattered didn't reach me, and things that hurt didn't come out. They stayed lodged somewhere deep. I didn't talk about that either. When my father died, I didn't cry. I handled the arrangements, I made the calls, People told me how strong I was. I nodded and thanked them. Then I went back to work the following week. It took years for that grief to surface. It showed up as irritation, as impatience, as withdrawal. I didn't connect the dots. That's the danger of silence. You don't know what it's doing to you until it's already shaped who you become. By the time I reached my 50s, my marriage was more of a partnership than a relationship. We functioned well, we coordinated schedules, we shared responsibilities, but we didn't share much else. I don't blame her for that. I built the walls. She just learned how to live with them. One evening, she told me she felt invisible. She said it calmly, not angrily. That should have told me how long she'd been carrying it. I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. That moment still visits me at night. Not long after that, she got sick. Nothing dramatic at first, just fatigue, then tests, then appointments, then the slow realization that this wasn't temporary. I sat beside her in waiting rooms. I drove her to treatments. I held her hand. I thought I was showing up, but there were things I still didn't say. I didn't tell her how afraid I was of losing her. I didn't tell her how much I regretted the years I spent emotionally absent. I didn't tell her how much she meant to me in words she could carry with her. I assumed there would be time. There wasn't. When she died, the house became unbearably quiet. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, the kind that echoes, the kind that reminds you of every conversation you avoided. People told me I did everything I could. Maybe that's true in a practical sense, but emotionally, I did what I'd always done. I stayed guarded, even then. After the funeral, my children came by less often, not because they didn't care, but because they had their own lives, and because we had never learned how to talk to each other about anything real. I realized then that emotional distance doesn't disappear when people grow up. It hardens. I live alone now. I manage fine. I cook simple meals. I take walks. I read. From the outside, I look like someone who adjusted. But there are nights when I sit with memories that feel unfinished, conversations that never happened, feelings that never found air. I don't regret my career. I don't regret working hard. I regret believing that feelings were optional, that I could save them for later, that they would wait patiently. They don't. What I lost wasn't one relationship or one moment. I lost depth. I lost the chance to be fully known, and in avoiding discomfort, I avoided intimacy. That's the cost. You don't notice it when you're young. You think you're being responsible. You think you're keeping things stable. You think you're protecting yourself and others. But one day you wake up old and you realize your life is very tidy and very quiet. And the quiet isn't peaceful, it's empty. There are things I can't fix now. I can't go back and sit on the floor with my children and ask what they were afraid of. I can't look my wife in the eye and tell her what I was too proud or too scared to say. Time doesn't negotiate. I still talk to my children. We're polite, we care about each other, but there's a distance that feels permanent now, not hostile, just established. I don't blame them. I taught them how to keep things surface level. They learned well. If you're listening to this and you're younger than me, I won't tell you what to do. I don't have that authority. All I can offer is what it feels like to reach the end of a long life and realize silence was never neutral. It was a choice, one I made over and over again because it felt easier in the moment. Feelings don't need perfect words. They just need to be spoken while there's still someone there to hear them. You don't need to explain everything. You don't need to be dramatic. You just need to be present, to say, "This matters to me," to say, "I'm scared," to say, "I love you," before it becomes something you say into an empty room. I used to think there would be a right time, a calmer time, a less complicated time. There never is. The time is when the feeling shows up. I don't have much time left now. I can feel that. My body reminds me daily. I try to be honest where I can. I say more than I used to, but I also know some doors only open once. This is me telling the truth while I still can. If this meant something to you, if it stirred something you've been holding back, I hope you don't wait as long as I did. Not because life should be perfect, but because silence has a way of taking more than you realize. I've made my peace with what I can't change. That's part of aging. Acceptance isn't happiness, it's just honesty. And this is mine.